the whole political situation in the U.S. is becoming more and more chaotic. And I'm not going to go into too many details, but because I'm sure you're getting information from left, right, and center about it. But what I will tell you about it is that it's a huge red flag in terms of the currency. And why? Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Well, we're going to look at whether countries like the United States or even the UK can go bankrupt. I remember some years ago, Austin Goolsbee, who's now working for the Federal Reserve, he was an economic advisor to the Obama administration, and he was on CNBC, and Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve, was next to him. And someone asked Alan Greenspan, can the U.S. go bankrupt? And he said no, because we can always print the money to pay off the debt. And Austin Goolsbee rolled his eye up like this, as if to say, why did he say this on national television?
Are U.S. Treasury bonds still safe to invest in?
Very much so. I think this is not an issue of credit rating. The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that. So there is zero probability of default.
But yeah, eventually though, you can keep printing the money or the currency to keep paying off old debt, especially when you have the status as the world's major reserve currency, as the U.S. has had since World War II. But there comes a point where confidence in that currency evaporates. And then the old comment from one of Hemingway's stories or books or novels about how someone went bankrupt comes to fruition. And why am I talking about this today? Well, Elon Musk, I'm not a fan, I'm not against, I'm neutral. He tweeted yesterday, America's going bankrupt, by the way. And he retweeted or reposted something about interest payments. And it says, on U.S. national debt will shatter $1.14 trillion this year, eating 76% of all income taxes collected. Why is this happening? Well, it's happening because the deficit spending has been out of control, even in a supposed period where the economy is doing great or is the best in the world, as we heard from President Trump, as we've heard from President Biden in his announcement or letter. He said it was the greatest economy a couple of days ago. So how come they have to keep deficit spending? Well, because it's not a great economy, and because, as Alan Greenspan said many years ago, we just print and print and print, but there comes a point where you break the camel's back. And the U.S. the U.S. has already gone bankrupt. It wasn't known politically as the United States, but it was during the Articles of Confederation period. The continental dollar went the way of the Reichsmark. And yes, countries can go bankrupt. And the U.S., I would say, has been defaulting for many, many decades. And how do they do that? Well, they just print the currency, and the people who hold the currency, they get screwed because that currency becomes worth less and less. And it's happening here in the UK as well. But there comes a point where not even printing the currency will help, because the currency will, people will lose complete faith and confidence. And I think this could be very significant, the fact that Elon Musk is talking about it, because X or Twitter has huge following, and this is becoming, it's coming into the public conscience. I even noticed that former President Trump in his RNC speech mentioned Weimar Germany. He didn't say Weimar Germany, but he said, oh, inflation's been out of control. And by the way, he was responsible for a lot of that inflation. It wasn't just the current administration. In 2019, the Treasury was running 5% budget deficit, and then in 2020 it went through the roof because of this engineered crisis that we call COVID. He mentioned, yes, we could see inflation like we saw 100 years ago in Germany. So people are starting to wake up to it. And I've been warning you on this channel, if you've been watching me for a long time, since 2015, that it was going to end up in currency collapse or hyperinflation, whatever you want to call it. And the symptoms now are just really going through the roof. By symptoms, I mean the political chaos, the social chaos, the geopolitical chaos, the debt chaos. And I've even had so many videos about this warning people that I have a playlist for you about hyperinflation if you want to learn more about it. It's something that is very unusual and very few people understand, and it can happen overnight. Is the loss of faith and confidence in the currency, and it only takes one event for that to happen. And during Weimar Germany and also revolutionary France in the 1790s, they experienced the same thing, and those were periods of massive social, political, economic upheavals, and what we're going through today fits the bill. So how do you protect yourself? Well, I think Elon Musk, through another post, gave people a huge hint. So Elon Musk posted yesterday, where are we with the dollar value destruction, you might ask. So he put at number one, he put a silver dollar like this, which used to be the money that people used to use, and gold as well, but he used silver. And then he put a silver certificate, which is just a currency promising you to pay one of these. So up until then, everything was fine. But then with the creation of the Federal Reserve, the dollar is really gone. The real dollar is really gone, because the Federal Reserve note is an imposter. There's nothing behind it. And then he put a Zimbabwe $50 trillion banknote there, and he said we're right between the fiat dollar and the Zimbabwe dollar. And then he puts a bullet, a lead bullet, number 5. So why the bullet? Well, because when the currency collapses, society, the market stops functioning, because it's very hard to do business, to exchange goods and services. It's very hard to produce if you don't have a sound currency. Businesses cannot plan ahead. They cannot buy their raw materials. They can't employ people. It becomes a free-for-all. It becomes disorderly, and that's why he put that bullet there. But I reposted that, and I said the first time I saw Elon Musk refer to silver, necessity will take us back to number 1. Yes, it will, and that's why I've been stacking silver and gold since 2002, because I've done my homework. I knew when Ben Bernanke, and even before Ben Bernanke, when Greenspan was saving Wall Street whenever it needed to by printing more and more currency. And I knew as well after Bernanke's helicopter speech in November 2002 that they were going to come in with massive QE eventually. I knew we were doomed in terms of the currency and that this would happen. Yes, it's taken a long time. So in a hyperinflation, if you haven't prepared yourself, and by preparing yourself, I mean if you haven't exchanged your fiat dollars or your Federal Reserve notes for real money, silver and gold, it will be too late. And that's why, I've been trying to dollar cost average gold and silver. And before I go further here, check out my affiliates in the description. In the US, I've got Miles Franklin, a precious metals dealer. They can help you with anything. You just have to call them on 1-800-822-8080, toll-free number, and mention Mario or Monaco64. And for those who have been stacking, they've got some pretty good specials this week as well. You can check it on their website, milesfranklin.com. And you can also email them, info@milesfranklin.com. Here in the UK, check out Gold Investments. They've been in business for almost 45 years, and I've been dealing with gold investments for over 20 years. If you have any questions, you can call them as well and talk to Oliver or Simon Temple. So that's where we are. And believe me, the whole political situation in the US is becoming more and more chaotic. And I'm not going to go into too many details, but because I'm sure you're getting information from left, right, and center about it. But what I will tell you about it is that it's a huge red flag in terms of the currency. And why? Well, because the currency of the United States is issued legally. It's not something that is of the market. And why do I hold this coin, the silver coin, when I say of the market? Well, because silver and gold and anything else really that is a very marketable commodity can be used as money. The currency of all countries these days, Federal Reserve note, Bank of England note, they're not creatures of the market because they really don't have any value on their own. They're just a empty promissory note. The way they get their value is through the legislature, through the legal tender laws. So if there is political chaos in a country like we're seeing now in the United States, foreigners are, and they already are, losing faith and confidence, but this is going to even accelerate it. They're going to lose faith and confidence in that currency. And not just foreigners, also Americans are going to start losing it. And that's why I think we're very close to some kind of currency collapse, hyperinflationary event. I don't know what's going to kick it off. It could be tomorrow, next week, in a month's time. It could be in a year. But I think we're really close. And what will come after that? Well, usually gold comes back. It came back when Napoleon took over after the revolutionary mess. The assignats and the mandats, they were currencies that hyperinflated, and he reinstated a new currency, the gold franc. It came back in Germany as well. They had to go back to sound money after 1923. They did the same thing in the United States after the continental dollar. They eventually got on gold and silver as money. And it happens every time. And if you don't believe me, if you think I'm making this up, even the central bankers know it. I think it was last year, one of the Dutch central banks, one of the Dutch central bankers, excuse me, he gave an interview to Dutch national TV. The guy's name is Huben, and he said, The beauty of gold is that it's stable in value. It retains its value. That's one of the reasons why central banks hold gold. Gold has intrinsic value, unlike a dollar. By that he means a Federal Reserve note or any other currency, let alone Bitcoin. Gold has value on its own. It's a fungible product. It's a liquid product. You can buy and sell it almost anywhere in the world. So it's really an outstanding commodity to base an exchange rate system, gold standard, on. And then he went on to say, well, I think once you let go of tying your exchange rate to gold, then one of the main reasons for holding gold is gone. Then you might ask, why are we still holding the gold? Why gold and not a portfolio of stocks or bonds or something else? There are a number of things that make gold very attractive to central banks. Gold is like solidified confidence for the central bank. It's something that has historically fulfilled that role. If we ever unexpectedly have to create a new currency or a systemic risk arises, the public can have confidence in DNB, that's the Dutch National Bank, because whatever money we issue, we can back it with the same value in gold. So there you go. It's the last resort once everything implodes. And I saw an interesting post yesterday about the fact that central banks are looking to increase their gold reserves. You can see here. Jerome Blockland says 1/3 of 51 central banks surveyed by Invesco for their annual Global Sovereign Asset Management study aims to increase its gold holdings in the coming 3 years. No central bank is considering selling gold. And you can see here that prior to the 90s, central banks used to hold a lot of gold as a share of central bank reserves. Why has it gone down so much? Well, there's two reasons why. One is because they've issued so much fiat currency, so many out-of-thin-air reserves, that the proportion of the gold they hold has become a lot less, as you can see. But also because a lot of them have sold their gold because they didn't think they needed it anymore. But I think that's going to go back to how it used to be many decades ago. And that's why the emerging markets or the BRICS or Global South central banks are buying so much gold. They know what's coming. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.